Hi, I'm Karen Glenn.
And my name is Jay Glenn. We've been married for 32 years and we've been here at St. Laurence for the past 26 years. We have 3 adult children, 2 who are married, so we also have 2 incredible children-in-laws, 2 grandkids, and a grand dog.
We're here this morning to introduce tenet number 1, setting priorities. And so we're going to introduce the priorities and then share with you a little bit our thoughts under each one.
So the first priority is keeping God first. And as I said, we've been here in Sugar Land for 26 years. We moved here from Austin. We loved Austin. We were close to family there. So when we began to look at moving, Karen had a job to begin working at the city of Sugar Land, and we began by looking at parishes. We had both grown up in the Catholic faith and we knew that it was important to us, and we wanted to make sure that that was part of our anchor here as well. So we became involved in the parish here, and I remember early on we visited the Ministries Fair and tried to meet people and get involved, and so the church and our life at St. Laurence kind of became the hub for everything that we did. So even with our kids, it became part of our process growing up. As our kids grew, it was always the idea of what Mass we were going to, not if we were going to Mass. And one of my favorite things is that as they got involved in sports that play tournaments on weekends or activities with friends, they'd get online and figure what church was near where the tournament was and what masses were available. And a couple of times we wandered into a Vietnamese or a Spanish language mass, and that was okay too. That was just part of it. But the idea was that our mass and our faith were most important to us, right? And as they moved into high school and they were doing things with friends on weekends, the questions were the same. Okay, so you're going with a friend to Galveston for the weekend. When do you think y'all will go to Mass, or do you want to come with us when we get back? And then personally, I think for each of us, we recognize that our own spirituality and our own faith formation and development was critical too. So prayer groups, retreats that each of us went on individually and together to kind of continue to build our faith and to keep God first in our lives.
We also really encouraged our kids to participate in the religious education programs and also Life Teen. And even when their friends weren't doing it, that was something that was important to us, and we had that commitment to that faith formation for us and for them.
The second tenet then is the idea that husband and wives come second.
And that was interesting too, because we always heard, keep your date nights when you get married, keep having that time together. We had our daughter, our first child, 18 months after we were married. We got a babysitter. A young girl in the neighborhood would come and play with Claire, and often we just went to the grocery store or ran errands, but it just gave us some time together and really, focused on just us. Even if it was focused on the household, it gave us time to just talk through some of those household items.
And as I mentioned earlier, it's easy when the kids are little, they require a lot, but I think that it's just important then that you remain focused on how are each of you doing, right? That you take care of each other and you look out for each other in terms of your faith formation, but also just as a relationship, right? The family can't flourish unless this relationship is good first, right? We tend to let our kids occupy a lot of space within the family, and to make sure that we balance that and take care of ourselves first. And so that's why the third tenet is that the children come third. It's God, then the couple, and then the children.
And this is hard. There were times we could overactivity ourselves. One of the things, probably the best advice I heard was from Father Phil at Mass one day, and actually my sister reminded me of it, but it's, if you need an immediate answer, the answer will be no. If you give me time to think about it, the answer is probably going to be yes. And we can fit it in, and it fits in the family priorities. So it really gave us time to think about how is that question going to impact all of us.
And I think part of what that does is it reminds the kids that we're a family structure, right? So no one child's needs were more important than the others, that we had to be able to fit it into the family dynamics, right? So that forced us to have a balance, right? We had 3 kids, they could be doing 5 different activities each, and we'd be running around each other trying to get everything done. But we kind of kept it in perspective, right? That I can't be running you everywhere because we have 2 other kids we've got to do. So we've got to figure out how to make this work together and build it as a family structure.
So kind of summing up priorities here. You know, God number one, he just always, if we reach out to him and ask him for that help. And number two, if we're there to greet our spouse in the morning or during the day and keeping their priorities our priorities, the kids, it all kind of comes together. The kids will take care of themselves, and you know, jobs and work didn't seem to make the top three.
And I think too, we fall in the trap of going, so it's ordered 1, 2, 3, which means I have to do this, then this, right? And the idea really is that you can incorporate all of those things together. So for me, I did some things on my own, but just as much it was we're doing things and we're all coming. So when we volunteered at the bazaar, our kids worked the pizza booth and the cotton candy, which is, you get that stuff all over you, or the ticket booth, all of those things, right? So there are things that you could do together that fill all those needs. And then at the same point, you're passing on to your children the idea that God is first in that, right? The prayer, the Bible verse that goes along with this tenet in the pamphlet is from Luke, and it says, when they asked Jesus, what is the most important commandments, he says, love God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your strength, with all your soul, and to love neighbors as yourself. Thanks for this opportunity for us to talk to you. We'll pray for you, and we ask that you continue to pray for us, and we'll see you at Mass.